Alright, what is up, guys? I am Howie. This is the Go Ride channel. Motovlog Volume 2.
Just kidding. It's actually Motovlog number 5.
We'll start with the low-hanging fruit, Corsa Dynamics plate mount. Least expensive one on the market. Only issue that I have with it is it does not come with longer bolts to account for the approximate 1/8 inch thick, maybe a little more, 3/16 inch thick aluminum that this thing's fabricated from, and the stock bolts don't reach. I don't know if that's necessarily the case on on everybody's bike, but I went ahead and just picked up. You can get them on Amazon or McMaster-Carr. Some M5 by 0.80 by 16 millimeter long button head cap screws in stainless steel, type 316. Alright, so project number 2, a little more ambitious, is going to be to try to correct the lean angle of the bike on the side stand. So, these bikes from the factory typically have a very significant lean angle, and I'll show you that in just a second, and I'll show you what it does. So this is how much these bikes lean over from the factory. And what that does is that pushes the center of gravity of the bike out further outside of the contact patch, and it puts a lot more stress on the side stand bolts down here, which are into the engine case. So I've actually had the case crack and had to go through and have that re-welded. But one of the other things is this bracket here will tend to bend, and as it bends more, the bike leans over further, putting additional stress on it, and eventually the bike will fall down. And I think that did happen to this bike at some point, given the crappy race fairings it had on it when I got it. So let me show you what we're going to do. Now, the way we are going to correct the side stand lean angle is this is a plate of 3/4 inch thick, 6061 T651, I think is the heat condition, aluminum. And we're going to go ahead and cut a coupon of this and have it welded to the bottom of the side stand in order to lengthen it, make the bike lean over less extremely, and then hopefully take some of the pressure off the kickstand. Parking on a hill is going to get a little more tricky, but not so worried about that. I'd like to just take some pressure off that and sleep a little better at night when the bike is parked, not on a rear stand. So when we go ahead and get that welded on there, which it looks like we may have to relieve it a little bit, when we go ahead and get that welded on there, that's going to be the new lean angle of the bike. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to cut a piece out of that, get it cleaned up, and then take the side stand off, because I am not set up to weld aluminum here. To dismount the side stand from the bike, there's a bolt back here, and I hope you can see that. It's going to come out. We'll take the spring bracket off, and we should be able to get it out. One of the other things to note is we're going to try to index the side stand up-down sensor, so that way it's just a little bit easier when I go to reinstall that thing. So let's go ahead and get this busted off. So that's side stand sensor bolt, and then there's an additional bolt back there that has to come off in order for me to actually remove the side stand itself. Now we're going to trace the foot out on the aluminum. Alright, that was actually a damn shit show. Sorry. But we got the piece out. It does need some tune-up, but it ain't actually that bad. So obviously gonna need to clean up in there a little bit and zap that, but this really ain't that bad. Alright guys, what's up? Back for day 2. Got myself a crappy little sander from Harbor Freight, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little insight, save your money, and just buy a better one. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start getting this thing sanded to where it lines up pretty well with the foot of the side stand. A couple other things to note: when you're working with aluminum that's going to be welded, you want to only work sanding in one direction, because if you go opposite directions, you're going to grind impurities into the metal instead of flinging them across the top. Same goes for when you wire brush it before welding, so I'm going to bear that in mind. Also, obviously this is brand freaking new, but if you don't have, if you've used abrasives on steel or other metals or wood, you're going to want to go ahead and change out your sanding belt and sanding disc before you do that, just so that way you don't grind a bunch more impurities into the aluminum. So with that, I'm going to get some safety glasses and some earplugs, and I'm going to get going. All right, folks. Not sure how well you can see that, but we've got this fairly well aligned where that lines up around it. We just have this tight little compound corner right here that I need to figure out how the heck I'm going to address, and then maybe do a little final touch up here on that back end. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. Yeah, I'm going to figure out how to address that compound curve. I'm not sure if I'm going to sand it or use maybe a burr on like a Dremel, like a real fine burr, and carve that out. Alright, what's up guys? Back. Got the burr. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the front of that little, clean this up a little bit so I can see what I'm doing, remark that compound curve, and then get that taken care of. I think we may have it. I just got to go ahead and touch up that bottom a little bit. Should be good to go. Okay, so one of the other things that I need to do is when the side stand is lengthened, it's going to sit at a different angle. So having this thing being straight across or flat on both sides isn't going to work. It's not going to sit flat on the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and mock it up and figure out how much I need to take off of the back side of it in order for it to sit flat on the ground. So to do that, we're going to remount the side stand. Actually, I have to take like 6 mil off. Alright guys, at this point I'm editing the video and I realize how poor of a job I did of covering the actual welding, right? And so what ended up happening is I had originally intended to take the side stand and the plate that you see me fabricating over to a buddy of mine. So I drove like 3.5 hours late one weeknight, school night, right? Had to work the next day. Meet him at his house. We're working outside on concrete, kneeling down, trying to get this thing tigged. It just wasn't working out. We called it quits before we both went crazy. I took it down to a local welding shop, Valley, I believe it's called Valley Machine. The guy's name's Earl Minkler. He did a bang-up job for 20 bucks and went ahead and welded that plate on, no issues. So at this point, you'll see me go ahead and clean up the weld with a wire brush and then put the side stand back on the bike. All right, guys, real quick, just going to get this brushed off and cleaned up and then throw it on the bike. Should be good enough. One of the things you'll notice is I did a lot of tinkering, and most of it was off camera, to adjust the angle at which the plate sits under the side stand. And I think it came out pretty good. Check it out. Stupid Harleys. We're going to talk about that in another video. So that's what the new lean angle looks like. Way stoked about it. Less pressure on that side stand. Already checked the mount bolts before putting this back on. So with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap it. This video was a long time in the making. It took a lot of work for me to actually get that piece done right. 90% of it was off camera. If you guys find any value in this, please, please, please like and subscribe. At this point, you would be the first because nobody's watching. And you could say you knew me back when if nothing ever happens. So with that, guys, get out there, go ride. If I see you, I will wave, like, and subscribe. Peace.